You're joining us now on the theme of the day, I think. It has been all about data centers, whether it's 50 billion coming from Anthropic, whether we're thinking about Meta continuing its focus in Wisconsin. But why do you think it's too much too soon from the Wall Street's perspective?
Well, for a lot of reasons. Living in a virtual world, as most of Silicon Valley does, it's really hard whenever they have to, go out into the real world and do physical things. And that's what we're talking about with data centers. We need power. We need really kind of exotic. They're kind of boring buildings, but they need to be very uniform, and there's only certain kind of people that can build them. And then we have the demand. So I've seen some reports, maybe on Bloomberg, about how some data centers that are already established are having problems, selling their capacity. So we have a lot of physical world problems. But I think my biggest thing is I'm not a believer that we really need all these data centers. I think human beings are incredibly smart and are going to work around what we're doing now, which is the brute force method of training large language models. Okay. I believe in AI, just not AI as it's presented right now.
So, Kim, there's the rub, right? Because you're not just saying that we got utilities issues, power issues, supply chain issues. You're saying we're going to innovate ourselves out of that. Are we going to the United States, or is it going to be Asia?
Well, right now it looks like Asia was first on track with the whole DeepSeek product that they came out with, right? We can quibble about if they unfairly used OpenAI to leverage, but they did leverage, and that's the most important part. They thought out of the box, as opposed to saying, we need to have the state of Texas be one big data center. I'm using hyperbole here, but they thought about how can we do this differently. And I think ultimately it's a good race between the US and the West in general and China about who is going to be able to come up with usable AI that doesn't, break the bank and cost every last dollar that Microsoft, Meta, and the rest of them have.
Kim, you've presented your thesis. So as an investor, custodian, fiduciary of your clients, how do you invest to support the thesis you've just outlined?
Sure. Well, I think we have to have many options, right? We do own some NVIDIA, but we also own AMD, Micron, and believe it or not, Intel. AI is real, and AI is going to have very different
Kim,
needs.
Sorry, may I just interrupt you? Like the AMD story today, the whole thing is predicated on the idea that they do participate in some massive data center build out. And you just said we don't need the data centers.
Well, there's going to be some data centers, but not as many as are planned currently. And I think that's the big thing, that even, last week's big cha-cha-cha in the world of AI was the Brad Gessner and Sam Altman interview, where, they're saying, where are you getting the money, Sam? So, there's a lot of concern about the whole theory of we need all of these data centers.
But surely,
I think
Kim,
over time we need them.
But isn't AMD currently trading in a valuation that is pricing in an enormous data center boom that will come to light? Or are you thinking actually AMD at this price is reflective of perhaps not such a significant build out?
Well, I am. And the other thing is whenever we discover that we don't need the brute force method, these chips will be instrumental in that, right? So I think we're going to deploy money. It's just differently than the way we're currently thinking. How about that?